Good. Yeah, so my name's Don Murray, and I'm here with Dave Campanis.
Hello again.
And we're going to talk about, I guess, what do we call this? This is the latest edition of FME Summer Camp.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about from outdoor to indoor. So we're going to talk about indoor mapping with FME.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun, a lot of activity, and a lot of interest in this area. So we're pretty excited with all the different people we're talking to, all the different formats that are coming out. We have IMDF, we have indoor GML, we have here venue maps. We're going to talk about ArcGIS indoors. We're going to talk about them all.
Yep.
So I think we look at that. It's time to get started. So welcome everyone.
Welcome.
And yeah, so let's just dive right in here. Okay, so the first thing is why indoor mapping? So I guess a couple things. Space planning. Organizations, they have a building, they want to be able to manage the facilities, know how to do the space planning, manage the facilities.
Yep.
Yep.
And also indoor navigation. You've got a big shopping mall or airport, and you want your customers to know where to go without having them run off to those little kiosks like you used to have to do.
Yeah, yeah. And something that's interesting, which I didn't know before we started this whole indoor mapping thing, but it was pointed out to me quite early, was that we actually, as people, we spend 90% of our time indoors, and yet historically we spent all our time mapping the outdoors.
Yes.
So so now, and anybody who's used their mobile device, their iPhone or Android, knows when you're outside, it's great. You can see the blue dot, you can see where you are, you can get directions on how to find places. But often, once you move inside a building, it just ceases to work. You don't see the details of what's inside the building.
Yeah, some of the buildings can be rather large and a little windy.
Yeah, yeah, like airports, for example.
Yeah,
shopping malls. Yeah.
Yeah.
University campuses, for anybody who's tried to find a way around a strange university campus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously for indoor mapping, the things we need to do is we need to collect all the data. Often buildings have data in many formats. When the building was being built, typically there would be CAD drawings, and which were used to build the building. And but that's just one format. On this slide here, you can see the different indoor mapping formats that we've been working with to date. Now, to be clear, FME, for those who don't know what FME is a data translation tool. Data moving tool, data integration tool, has many names. Some call it ETL, but that's just one thing it does. It can also do automation, anything. Anytime you have data you want to use in an integration solution, FME is the tool for you. It does over 400. We stopped counting, I think, once we hit 400. Yeah. So hundreds of formats, and highlighted here are just some of the ones that are indoor specific, I'm going to say, because there's many other formats which you could store indoor data in. You could store it in your Oracle database, for example, but we don't have that here because these are the ones that are specific just to indoor.
Yeah. I mean, CAD is another good source of indoor
data. Yes, exactly.
That isn't on here just because there's all sorts of things in CAD.
That's right. So yeah, so that's another good point. And so the thing with indoor mapping is you're going to need to pull data typically from multiple systems, right?
Yeah.
So that's you might have CAD data. CAD data typically is built for building the building, like constructing the building.
Yep. And sometimes it's also like afterwards they have CAD data to make the sort of fire plan maps and stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And the other interesting thing I'd say about indoor mapping is often the format itself is simple.
Yeah.
But it's the data model requirements that are where the real strictness and the real intricacies of the model are. So if we look at IMDF, for example, the data model is a nice JSON file.
Yeah.
As far as the syntactic format, but as far as the semantics and how all the different layers and how all the different tables must work together to form the model, it's complex.
Yeah, and we are going to be concentrating a bit on IMDF today for two reasons. One is that it's now a published specification.
Mm-hmm.
So and we've posted the link here. So it's available to anyone to see, which is very nice.
Yeah.
And the second is Apple's been very helpful and very forward in I guess pushing the format out to people and giving everybody all sorts of help to work with that format.
Yeah.
So it's been a really sort of useful one for us to get started with.
Yeah. So if you want to get your, let's say you're a shopping mall and you wanted to get your shopping mall indoor map to Apple, Apple would request that data in the IMDF format. And once you produce the IMDF data set, you would submit that to Apple, and then you would ultimately end up with it
in Apple Maps.
In Apple Maps, yeah. So some other things. CAD standards help, particularly if you're working, maybe an organization that's working with a whole bunch of shopping malls and you want to get all the data together. If all the CAD data is in the same standard, that certainly helps. But CAD data itself is not sufficient because, of course, you need information on who's using the spaces, and CAD data doesn't have that.
No, very often be a combination of CAD and your facilities management.
That's right. Tools. That's right. So that's that's like that. Yeah. So an FME, because FME is a tool that can read over 400 different systems, and also as part of a single data flow, you can also read multiple systems. This just kind of shows that, hey, with FME, you can pull in both the floor plans in whatever format they're in, plus all the facilities management information, wherever that is. It could be scattered across many different things.
Yeah.
And you got to bring that together. Those two things together form the information that's necessary for IMDF or other indoor mapping formats. So yeah, so the other thing that's really important to remember is, and as anybody who's ever been in an airport knows, is they're constantly changing, being upgraded. I can't remember the last time I was in an airport where there wasn't construction. And so it might be they're just changing people who are, leasing a particular space, but often it's much more drastic than that. So that's the other nice thing about FME and pulling these things together, is once you build your data flow from the sources to your destination indoor mapping system, whenever the source data changes, you just rerun it. So there's a bit of work up front to build the initial workflow, but after that, it can be even automated and just
almost completely automated.
Yeah. So that's and that's where the server comes in. For example, you could have it just whenever. It could be a database trigger, it could be a file arrives in is updated in a particular directory for source data. Many ways that can happen. So So of course with FME, there's a lot going on with IMDF and all these different things. And the goals with FME is the workflow that you build hides all the details, so you can just focus on building your indoor maps. And in fact, as we're going to show a little bit later, we built some fundamental building blocks to help you. How do you know that the IMDF model you even built is valid? Well, we can help you with that as well. So yeah. So generally, when you're building indoor maps using FME, there's a few things you got to do. The first thing is you have to find some system that actually has the floor plans. That's necessary.
That's the key one.
Yeah. And that sounds simple, but often it can be. It might have to be
tricky. It can be spread over multiple CAD files. Those CAD files will probably not be registered like georeferenced to the real world. The different layers on the CAD or the different floor levels may be in separate CAD files that may not even be registered to each other.
Yeah.
So that can get exciting.
Yeah. And that's just the world of data where because remember, these CAD drawings were built just typically to construct the building. Yeah. And so you'll see them, they're often big paper sheets. People have them on their pickup truck as they're building the thing, and then so they can figure out how to build the building. They're not worried about, hey, this floor is on top of that floor. They just kind of know that.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to get a building information model, which we can also read, at least there, the entire building may not be georeferenced properly in the earth, but at least it's all referenced to itself.
Yeah, so if you're using Revit, for example,
things get a lot easier.
Yeah, and TriRiga, if you're using TriRiga, things are better.
Yeah, for the facility management side, you can pull off some information.
That's right. Well. And if the data's in the CAD integration tool.
Yeah, we can read the AutoCAD files, and we can read the TriRiga information placed in an AutoCAD file with the integration tool.
Okay. Yeah. And then of course, once you've converted the floor plans and all the associated data to build your model, you have to validate it. And that can take several iterations before you actually get the data valid. But again, we worked particularly with IMDF to make that as easy as possible, so you can have those cycles, do all those cycles yourself rather than,
Yeah, don't feel bad if it's not perfect the first time. None of mine have been.
Yeah. So, and the big thing is with FME is you don't have to write code. Of course, you have to find the source data, you have to understand the source data, and work with it. But you don't have to write Python or whatever your favorite language is. You can do it all with FME.
Yeah, it's a drag and drop interface. So as soon as you can think it, you can build it.
That's right. And you'll see that. We'll see that a little bit later as well. Okay. So when you're building an indoor mapping workflows, obviously, first thing is you got to read the source data, and then you've got to get it into shape to convert the data to the indoor mapping system. So one example is it might not be in geographic coordinates, i.e. lat-long coordinates. Exactly. And IMDF requires that the buildings are in geographic coordinate system so that it knows where it is on the planet. Makes sense. You're driving up to a shopping mall. Apple Maps wants to know where that shopping mall is, so it knows you're actually going into that shopping mall.
However, we do make that a bit easier for you. FME's got a built-in reprojection engine, and the IMDF writer will automatically reproject to lat-long as it writes. So as long as your data is in some sort of coordinate system recognized by FME, you're good. And we actually have tools, even if you just know, hey, my origin point is at this lat-long, we can make that work for you too. We have tools that can turn that into a proper coordinate system, which will then convert you to lat-long. So it's all good.
It's all good. So and then of course validate the data, and that you would iterate on preparing and validating, and then ultimately you would write to the output. So so here just some Dave and I talked about some of these things, but in the creating indoor mapping, first you got to georeference it, got to make sure it's in the right spot. And then there's also the semantic enrichment. What that means is you might have, let's say you've got data from your CAD, and as you're building your spaces, you have to pull data from your facilities management to suck attributes from that to build as you're building the whole place.
In the IMDF specifications, there's a list of attributes that need to be filled as you go in. Some of them are mandatory, like category. It really wants to know the category of all the parts. Some of them are optional, say names. Some you may name some units, you may not name other units. But all of those attributes that information needs to come from somewhere. So there you'd be doing some sort of schema mapping to the IMDF attributes.
And classification, can you give me some examples of what you mean by classification?
Classification would come into the categories.
Okay.
Say you have, I'm trying to think more of a university, right? You have a whole bunch of offices, but you want to separate your offices from your eating areas, from your hallways, etc. That may or may not be in your source data. Some of that you may need to get from other sources.
Okay, good.
Oh, we did forget one thing.
Sure.
Important, cleaning.
Yes.
Cleaning. Part of the validation process on IMDF is they really want that data clean. And a lot of CAD data and even some GIS data, I'm sorry to say, is not exactly topologically perfectly clean.
Right, and that's also across floors. Like one thing I know that you came and talked to me a few times about was, hey, wow, look at that, I have my building outline, but this floor, it actually wasn't exactly inside the building outline. So you had to do things like that.
So we have a bunch of tools and a bunch of transformers that allow you to clean that data as well.
And the nice thing is you don't have to guess, because the IMDF validator will tell you everything that is, great. Okay, so we're going to look at just a couple of ways to clean. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the hub. And this is, now we'll go to the web page. We've done the web page. We made a nice web page for folks. And the idea here is that if you have an IMDF data set, you can simply go here and drag and drop your file on it. And I have one here. And I can simply put it on here. And it uploaded, continue. And this is for the Victoria, BC, Canada airport. I click continue, enter my name. Okay, and save, and I just say run my report, and it's going to now, that file has been submitted to our IMDF validator that's online, and typically within 15 minutes, we won't wait. I would get a report. Maybe at the end we'll check and take a look.
Report,
yeah. And then I could upload another file, so I could do many of these. And then of course I could, if I want to learn how to convert my data to IMDF, I click on a link here, and we go to other places.
The web pages.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and this is a free service that's currently offered by SAFE.
Yeah, yeah. And the other one is our hub. Whoops. The other one's our hub. I click here. We go to the hub, and if I type IMDF, this is our hub is where we upload things for the user community, and other users also upload. So it's a great way of sharing functional things that you can use within FME. So here for the validator, for when I type IMDF, we have the IMDF validator, which Dave's going to talk about a little bit later, which is that transformer that'll enable you to validate IMDF right on the desktop yourself. And then we have some samples. So we built a sample file geodatabase to IMDF, for example. And hey, that's the Victoria Airport one, right on the hub. So yeah. So.
Oh, we also like to give a shout out to Victoria Airport, who were kind enough to supply us with a data set that we can share with you.
Yeah.
And I'll go into that a bit later.
Yeah. So thanks. We really appreciate that.
Yes,
that was a big deal, being able to have a data set that we can actually share rather than just talk about it.
And Victoria is actually a very nice data set for that, because it is a smaller airport, but it is an international airport.
Yeah.
So it has most of the parts of the airport that you are going to see in a larger airport.
Yeah.
Yet it's a nice enough size that it makes it really good for just playing around and getting used to it without having great masses of data you've got to worry about.
Oh, good. So yeah, so you saw the IMDF validator on the hub there. If you were interested, and so that's kind of like the schmores, like, you know, on the hub, you download this nice little, you know, consumable product there, and but underneath the covers, if you opened up that IMDF validator, and you can in our tool, just to see, hey, I wonder what's going on underneath there.
Yeah.
You can see this Dave's great work here, where it's doing all the IMDF validation that is required to verify that an IMDF data set actually follows the specifications.
Yeah, it has gotten more complex, and every release Apple has added some more validation, so this grows as well. And I believe it's my personal best as for number of transformers being well over 1,000.
Yes.
Not including junctions.
Yes.
So.
Wow. And so the beauty of FME is you don't need to understand that. You just drop it in, and if you're going to IMDF, you're just going to get a report back.
Exactly.
And away you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So airports is probably the number one thing that we're working to get IMDF data sets in. Airports are one of the most common public spaces that people go to and probably find stressful. I was listening to a blog this morning that talked about the stress of flying.
Yeah.
And people forget about whether you fear flying, just entering the airport facility causes everybody's stress level to go up, because, you know, we don't do it enough that we know where things are. We're always in a strange airport. We're hungry. You know, where's my gate?
Yeah.
You know, everybody else is rushing around, and so
you end up in the wrong security line, and suddenly you're off to China, and you really want to go to Des Moines. So
and so it would be great if you know, every airport you went into, your blue dot was inside the airport, and you said, I want to go to, you know, your favorite coffee shop, Starbucks, whatever.
There you go.
Click the button, and boom, it would show you where it is, and then your stress level will go down, just knowing that facility exists. So we've worked with a number of airports at SAFE over the years, and this one is Schiphol in Amsterdam.
Very big airport.
Very big airport, and it's a very nice airport as well.
Indeed.
So so their goal is to have the best passenger experience, digital share and open data, and of course navigation, which is what part of what indoor mapping is ultimately about, helping you find your way around.
Yeah, and they've actually just done a big reno in the last few years too. So it's all completely different in there now. So
good.
Really going to need these maps.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier about these buildings are like living things, right? They're constantly changing, and so with once you build a workflow, you don't want to have to rebuild that workflow every time. You want to have a button you can click or some way to say, hey, apply updates, and ultimately it flows through and all the devices are updated. Yeah. So challenges are always, we've been working with data for 25 years now. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And data quality is always an issue. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of data as an organization you're dealing with, the health and quality of your data is always a challenge. Even at SAFE, we have Salesforce. We're always, how can we, let's look at this report. Okay, we got some data that doesn't belong there. How do we fix it? And with geographic data and the complexities of what can go wrong are just,
yeah. Somebody has a bad day, and then
Yeah. And with CAD, we've seen organizations where different CAD operators produce different kinds of CAD.
Yeah, CAD can be very exciting.
Yeah. And IT architecture, what are we talking about there? So that's just different systems, breaking down silos.
Systems, where you're getting your data from, what sort of formats it in, etc. What sort of schemas.
Yeah. Okay, so with Skipple, for example, this is exactly the same one that we looked at earlier, but pretty much.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, source data, find all the assets in the building, floor plans, pull them all together, prepare the data, and then you got to validate it.
Exactly.
Right, make sure it fits the things. And now, once it's validated, it's passed off to the system that's going to build the
wayfinding.
Yeah. So you can see the role FME is there. It's basically pulling the data together in validation, and then the rest is downstream. Yeah.
Exactly. In some indoor formats, building the wayfinding is part of the process.
Yeah.
In other formats like IMDF, the wayfinding is done in real time. Mm-hmm. So depending on which indoor system you're going to, there might be that extra step.
Yeah. So and this is just some of the results showing Skipple.
They're on. I think the app is live, is it not?
Yes. Yeah. So there we go. So they have their own Skipple Wayfinder, Apple Maps, Google Maps. It's all there. Yeah, you can see they have that's pretty cool. I haven't been to Skipple to try their AR, but sort of labeling work. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah. So this is sort of the value these devices will start providing to us as we move around indoor spaces.
Yeah, and I know with the Apple Maps that the Apple's location finding is not available not just to its map application, but is actually available to any application running on the device.
Yes.
So you can have custom maps, like you said, these AR devices that uses the underlying map to generate a different view of the airport.
Yeah. No, very slick. Okay, yeah, some of the things that people are doing looking ahead is real-time sensors. So, basically where people are, maybe you're walking by and you want to they're going to send you a thing, hey, get a coffee here, because I have the Starbucks app. Wouldn't it be really nice if every time I got within 50 feet of a Starbucks in an airport, it told
you to get a coffee?
It told me to get a coffee or offered me some extra points or something.
Yeah.
And also, they can also improve the airport by the information they collect. If they know where people are, they can sort of find the hot spots or the congestion areas, and they can use that. They won't know that it was Dave or anybody, but they can tell, hey, wait a minute, there seems to be big congestion that always happens in this particular spot.
Yeah.
And so how can we use this information to improve our airport? Maybe if I figure out what's causing the congestion, maybe split those things up a little bit, or maybe even, hey, there's congestion there. The lease at that spot might be worth more than the lease in this other spot, which is less congested.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say on that one? Oop, okay. So here's a nice quote from Skipple when they presented. I guess it was a world tour stop, was it? Must have been.
It must have been.
Yeah. FME is the ETL glue between geo platforms to keep up to date and in sync. So, and then there's a link there if you want to read on that. Watch the webinar, fme.ly/AMS.
Yeah, and that's actually presented by Skipple itself. So.
Yeah. So really good. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're handing it over to you now.
Yep. Okay. So we've talked a lot about the sort of theoretical aspects of the indoor and stuff. So I'm just going to show you a few practical examples, starting with the Victoria, BC, but first thing I'd like to do is to show everybody, we have on our Knowledge Center a tutorial that Mark Ireland has put together. He's our main blogger and tutorial writer. And this is a good starting spot if you're interested in creating IMDF, the Apple Maps datasets. It's got links to both this Victoria demo that I'm going to show you with the data. It's also got a link to the CAD one that we're maybe have time to show you as well. And there's two different there's kind of two different philosophies there. The Victoria Airport is a one-shot deal.
Yeah,
we're assuming we've got mostly clean data.
Right.
And we're just pretty much going with it, trying to get into IMDF. On the CAD side, we're doing a little bit more intensive process in that we're trying to make it aesthetically a little bit more pleasing. A lot of that data we get has the actual walls modeled. So that gives you like a double line for the walls, and that's allowable in IMDF. You can set that to a structure. But sometimes for the best aesthetics, you really don't want to show the walls. You just want to show like the two units abutting each other. Right. So in the CAD one, we actually have a pre-process that takes those double line walls, turns it to single, and then it lets you go in and do some modifications back in CAD itself before doing the final output. So we'll switch to the Victoria, BC. Just hit the present. There we go. So in this example, we're going to take data in ARC in the geodatabase and convert it to Apple Maps. So let's get.
Was this geodatabase? Was this an ArcGIS Indoors or?
No, it was their own custom geodatabase. Okay.
So with that, one of the things with FME then is it doesn't matter that it wasn't in ArcGIS Indoors.
No,
we could still convert it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the workspace. It's a little complex at first, but it breaks down to fairly simple parts. And I thought I'd just highlight a little bit. Well, we're using here what our new collapsible bookmarks.
Right.
So we can take a big piece of code and just sort of tuck it in here and give you more of an overview at first. Right. So we're coming in with a bunch of feature classes. They're equivalent to layers essentially from ArcGIS. And this one we're using the file, the geodatabase writer that uses the open API from Esri, so you don't need ArcGIS on your machine to read this data. So this will work on any machine, even if you have ArcGIS or not. So we have a series of different feature classes here. Now, what Victoria has done is put each each layer in its own geodatabase.
Okay, and then does the name of the geodatabase tell you the floor level?
Yeah. So we have ATB1, ATB2, ATB3. Okay. So you see like three different sets of openings, three different sets of polygons, runes, wall polygons, runes, etc. And this shows how FME can read from multiple data sources. So once in this case, it's just three geodatabase readers, but we could also throw CAD in the reader in there if we wanted to. So first thing we do is we read all the data in, all separated out by its feature class. Next thing is we have steps to essentially do a little cleanup on the data because, really no data is perfect. In this case, there were a few small gaps between polygons and stuff. So we just snap those all together, make it all clean. For some of the data, it was actually line work. Aggregates of line work to make the symbols for the counters and the carousels. And what we want to do is turn those actually into little polygons. So we have a bit of logic here that just turns those into polygons. So now, and the other thing we want to do in this section is this data was not georeferenced. So it comes in, there's a 0, 0, it's all horizontal, which is nice and easy to work with from a mapping point of view when you're working on a room, or not a room, but a building, because you kind of want everything squared up as how you actually see the building, but that's not how it sits in real life. But we were given with this data a set of transformations, like a scaling and a rotating, that puts it in the real world. And so that is also applied in here as a georeferencing, and you see the information is displayed there. And so it's georeferenced, it's cleaned up, now it's kind of ready to go. This second part here, and this is kind of hard to explain why we do this, but what we do is we snap all the data together. And what we're trying to do is make sure that the data on lines that are coincident all have common vertices. And there's a very important reason for doing this when going to IMDF, and it's because when you're working a projected coordinate system, you have straight lines. When you convert it to a lat long, because of the way you're mapping to essentially a spherical geometry, the path that those lines follow becomes this very slight curve. Now, you don't really see the curve because we don't actually have arcs in the output format. You get lines, so the lines, the vertices or lines are going to sit along that curve. It's basically going to follow the curve as best it can. But if you have two lines, say one smaller line and one larger line, and they're coincident in your projected coordinate system, but they don't share vertices, when you get to lat long, they're going to be slightly offset because a shorter line is going to follow a different part of the curve than the larger line. So what we do is we make sure we all have common vertices so that we all sort of cut the corners on that curve in the same place. And that's very important and makes your validations a lot happier. The next section is just essentially, we are doing a little of attribute mapping, spatial relating, just to find out what openings sit on what units. And we're relating the pieces together because what we're now trying to do is develop the information that we need to fill out the IMDF. IMDF needs to know that certain openings on certain types of unit have their own categories. So you just, as sorting out the categories, some category information you get from the original data set, some category information you get from the relationships between the data. That's these sections here do. I'm not going to go to it in great detail because you can look at the workspace and it's all documented as to what each piece is doing. Now, the heart of this is the units. Basically, we have openings and we have amenities and fixtures, but there's a bunch of other layers in the IMDF file that they want levels. So a level is equivalent to a floor. They want the floor outline, and they also want the building outline, and they also want the venue, like the outline of the property. Now we have the outline of the property, but we don't have the outline of the buildings, and we don't have the outline of the levels. But what we do is we have all our units, and the units include the walls, which includes the exterior walls. So what we can do is merge all that information together and create the levels. So that's what we're doing here from the units. And then from those levels, we can create the footprints. And so we're just sort of building the chain as we go, dissolving as we go to get to the top. We also create an address that gets linked to the building, and then, like I said, the venue comes from itself. So as we go out now, we've got all the parts to go. Another thing I had to point out is relationships. Now relationships that's used in the wayfinding. A relationship, if you have an elevator, you tie all your elevators on each floor together, so the wayfinding know that these are all the same elevator. You get in on floor 3, you can get out at floor 1. So that's information that also needs to be created. So that's created here as well. And that's pretty much it. That's the workflow to create an IMDF file from this particular data set. And this is a good one to start with. Like I said, it's fairly simple. Yeah. I would recommend, if you're doing it on your own, download this from the tutorial page, give it a shot, and then you can start bringing in your own data and seeing how you want to manipulate that. Yeah. Using this as a guide. You can't just plug it in and it work, but it's a good starting point for you to make your own process.
And the nice thing, of course, is once you've built this, now the Victoria Airport, anytime there's an update, they just rerun it.
Exactly.
They don't. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's the building of the IMDF. We showed you earlier before the validation of the IMDF through our web service, but then we show you another way that might be a little bit more helpful if you're the actual one building this. So you don't want to go to the web service all the time. And if you have FME, well, you have FME. So we're going to close this. And I'm just going to start with a blank workspace, and we're going to add a reader. Just add a quickie IMDF reader. And look for zip files. We have the output from that previous one is a victoria.zip. Yep. That's the other thing. IMDF files it's a zip file containing a series of GeoJSON files. We'll read from the GeoJSON, but really it's just more convenient to keep it as a zip file. Yeah. Okay, so we'll bring in that IMDF file. There you go. And then we also showed you that validator on the hub.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, I never go to the hub because all of the hub transformers are also available in your quick add.
Yep.
So I can just start typing IMDF. We see the IMDF validator. I click on it.
It downloads and installs.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's a big one, folks.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
So now we've got to do all this connecting up, and well, I'm lazy, so I'm not going to do that. I'll show you a cool way to do that automatically. And if you, I should explain this, under file windows, you can have a thing called feature type connections. That brings up a little extra window. And you have your connections here, your feature types.
Yep.
Just highlight them all. And in here, you have all the inputs for the IMF validator. You just select them all, and you highlight them all. And then you go auto connect. Boom, Bob's your uncle.
Love it.
So a lot less work for you.
Yep.
And then we're just going to put the arrows out to an inspector. Just make that name a little shorter. And what I'm going to do is, I think I did a good job on this data set.
Sure.
But you're never going to get zero, especially the warnings.
So you have some, yeah, there's a bunch of warnings, and they are warnings. That's right.
So I'm gonna sort them out by their warning names. So just type IMDF here and IMDF error message. But that also includes warning message, folks.
Right.
So just ought to tell you, soothe my ego a little bit. So there we go. And we'll run that anyway. Okay. So this is a fairly small data set, so the validation runs pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you can see some of the stuff going on in everybody's log file that you love. So if you want to, while things are running, you can read and see what's going on underneath. Yeah, there's a lot going on in that log file. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have our data set in the inspector, and we have our warnings sorted by the type, which is good because this is good just to show you what sort of things you have. Now, with most things, unless you've manipulated your data to make it really, really generalized, you'll probably find that you're going to hit a lot of threshold warnings.
Right.
And basically, Apple has certain thresholds that they want to see your line segments be larger than. But it's hard when you have to, you might have small corners in your buildings, and that thing where I said where all the vertices kind of have to match, that tends to make some small segments sometimes. So, but again, these are all warnings. Your data will still pass with them, but it's also always a good look to see some of the warnings. Maybe you can get rid of some of them.
Yeah.
If you can, good. So again, here we just have all warnings, so that makes me happy.
Great.
But that shows you it's a quick and dirty way to to do your validations. And this, as you're building your set, you probably do this over and over. Have this running as well.
Yeah, and you could actually put that validator right in your either your production data set if you wanted to, and then you could have a flag to turn it on and off. Like I've done that where I have like a test mode, and if it's test is yes, then it goes through the validator. Yeah. When I get then test is no, it doesn't.
Yeah, the tricky part is you'd have to convert to lat long before you do that.
That's right.
So I'm lazy, and I let the writer do the lat long conversion for me. So I generally have this in a separate work. So that's why I have this in a separate.
That makes sense. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to the. So that's the Victoria process.
Yeah. So and you can certainly see, I mean, validating IMDF, we've really made it easy.
Yep.
And that's a big.
Just drag and drop the transformer and away you go. Yep. Or if you don't have FME, you can use our service.
Yeah.
So if you're creating IMDF another way, feel free to use our service to validate.
Yeah.
I've done my best to try to make the validation match apples.
Right.
As much as possible. And so it's an ongoing process. We'll update that validator as
we learn more.
As we learn more, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the process we went through for the Victoria. There's a picture of it.
Yeah.
Okay, these are some of the other examples of IMDF files and sources we used. Vancouver International Airport has, I believe they shared out their own GeoJSON, which is different from the GeoJSON of the IMDF. So there was a conversion to go to that, to make that in IMDF.
Yeah.
San Francisco used FME, and their system is PostGIS.
Yeah.
So they actually have a database that they maintain all in PostGIS of their entire airport, which is a cool idea.
Yeah, and so those are two formats that didn't even make it to our graph, right? Like YVR had its own custom GeoJSON format.
Yep.
FME supports GeoJSON, no problem. And we do PostGIS as well. So it doesn't matter. The point really is that it doesn't matter where the data is, we can read it.
Yeah. We have the tools to manipulate it and turn it into IMDF for you. Yeah. Okay, visualizing a YVR. We can also read IMDF.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we doing for time? Oh, I think we got enough time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we can, I've got a little workspace to, there we go. And what this does is it'll read your IMDF file, and it'll just make a little Google Earth document for you. And that should give you it's going to be like a cooking show here. I'll show it to you, and I'll show you the results. So we can open this up in Google Earth. And what this does is it just grabs all of the units, the rooms essentially, assigns them a color, and by category, and it just puts a little menu up there, so you can see there's Victoria Airport.
Yeah. A great way to verify that your geographic coordinates are actually accurate.
Yeah,
because true. If that was not over top of the airport, you'd know that somewhere you made a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, especially, and if it's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean near the coast of Africa, you know that you're forgot to
you're Null Island.
Yeah. So yeah, we could things like turn on the different levels and stuff. So I mean, that's just one day a quick and dirty way of visualizing. But it's nice, like I said, it's nice to have the reader as well as the writer for that.
It's always nice, yeah. And that's an important point, yeah.
Yeah. So indoor mapping for other applications, we support the here venue format.
Yeah, reading and writing.
Reading and writing. Yeah. 3D PDF, KML, ArcGIS indoors. We are working on. We obviously support GeoDatabase, but ArcGIS indoors has their own schemas.
Yep.
And we have that, and we have an example, but I think we're not at the point where we know everything about those schemes yet. So you have the ability to do it. We just don't. It's not like Apple where the specs are published and we know what to put where.
That's
we're
right.
Still working on that.
We're still working with that with Esri. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, multi-building facilities. Yes. Now this is where we're going to do the university campus example, which is multiple buildings, whereas an airport generally tends to be one big
building. And shopping malls often, could be multiple buildings as well. Or
Okay, so now this is a multi-step process where let me just bring up the workspaces here. Like I said before, okay, and I don't have the reader on my Mac here, but we're not going to run it, so it's okay. What we start off with CAD files in this case of the different the layers the different floors on each CAD file. And they had the double line walls. So we had a process here, essentially that thins the walls. It also extracts the information, the different unit information, and we all put that on its own layer. So the old layers are still there, so you can turn them on and off as you need to. But we create the new layers we need to. The next step was to edit that data in AutoCAD itself. So you go in, and sometimes our wall thinner creates little artifacts and stuff that don't look good. So you go in and you clean them up, and then we have a second workspace. And the second workspace will take that edited CAD data, extract only those new layers, and then create the IMDF for you. So that's pretty much it, and that is also on the that's in this tutorial as well. So the creating IMDF data sets. We have links to the data or to the complete procedure here that we used, and as well, I believe we have the Yeah, we have the workspaces. So again, this probably won't match your procedure exactly, but it's a good starting point. You can see the logic we've used, and we've tried to make it arrange it and document it so you see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, so you can see step by step what you'll need to do.
Exactly, yeah. And we have the tutorial as well. So it should be a good starting point for you to manipulate your own data. But it just shows another approach in that, it doesn't have to be a one-step thing. You can use multiple steps. If you have a tool to edit in the meantime and you want to make it just a little bit more perfect, go for it. Yeah. If you have the time and you really want that done, we're not limiting you to a single step to IMDF.
No, that's an important point. You can do it step by step. Yeah. And that makes each step smaller and easier to understand. There's lots of benefits. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And yeah, these are some of the customer success stories.
Yeah, so these folks used FME to manage their space management. So a university campus, yeah.
And there's a link where you can check out their customer story. Yeah. Same thing here: facilities management, CAD to GIS conversion, data validation. Yeah. Automation, so they run it whenever their CAD data changes, they rerun this again.
Yeah. And they even did some cross-campus routing on this one, cool. Which is really cool. Yeah. Call it to Steve Grisset, who did much of the work there. Yeah, and Aaron at the University of Washington. Yeah.
So I guess the key points is you can keep your indoor mapping up to date. You build your FME workflow once. It is a kind of a batch procedure. Yeah. And as your data changes, you rerun it. Yeah. And you can keep your output updated. Yeah. Easily. Yeah.
And you can publish it to server, as we did with that IMDF validator webpage. We just simply publish that to an FME server, and whenever a file is dragged and dropped and that clicks run, then it runs the workspace. So then that's a nice way of sharing these workflows across an organization if you need to. Maybe you have a whole bunch of people doing editing of CAD or doing your facilities management, and you want any one of them to be able to run the workflow, you can use FME server for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, FME server and FME cloud is what Dave's shown you is the authoring environment where that's FME desktop, and you can do everything you need to. You can author, create that, but that's where you create the workflows. Of course, you can run them as Dave's shown there. And that's on a single desktop. But if you want to share that work across an organization or add automation or with FME Cloud, you can also share it to the whoever you want, like we did with that IMDF validator. That's where server and cloud come in.
Yeah. And if you want to publish like say a service like our validator, we have easy tools to let you get set up that way. And you can publish your own.
Yeah, and you could tell with that IMDF validator, if we didn't tell you, you'd have no idea that FME server is in the background, and that's really the point. The end user just wants to validate an IMDF data set. That's their focus. They don't really need to or even care what technology is in the back, as long as it meets their needs.
You can craft your own web page so that nobody even knows FME is involved.
That's right.
So in this case, the CAD that comes with the IBM Tririga, if it's being imported with the CAD integrator, that adds a lot of information to the AutoCAD files that we can turn around and use.
Yes.
So we can use the geographics from the CAD file, and then we have some custom transformers that can query the Tririga database and put together that information. That said, it will not get you a complete IMDF file.
It's missing a few things like openings.
Opening is kind of very important for the routing.
i.e. doors.
It pretty much just gets you units. Right.
But a huge step over a raw CAD drawing, because again, somebody's taken the time to build the nice spaces for the facilities management system in Tririga, so that it's useful for space management or facilities management, which is a long way towards what we need for indoor mapping. It's not complete there, but it's and it's also not in geographic coordinates, was the other thing you found.
That's the thing as well. Yeah. And it just getting a little bit behind the scenes on the Tririga is that basically we're talking to the Tririga system through a web API.
SOAP in this case.
SOAP API. So if you have a SOAP API or a REST API in any of your management systems, we make it really, really simple within FME to communicate with that. And then with a few short steps, you've got your own reader writer that never came with FME, and it's ready to go.
And if there's anybody out there using Tririga, we would love to talk to you like any format or system we're working with FME, there's always ways to make it better. And so if there's anybody out there that has a Tririga scenario they would like to do, we would be happy to talk to you just to take our Tririga reading and writing to the next level.
Yeah. So far, we've only played with the sample database, and
that's right.
It has its limitations.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another example of a non-IMDF indoor translation. In this case, we're converting from the here venue format to SAP HANA and also to GeoJSON.
Yeah.
So again, multiple formats in, multiple formats out, and you know, the manipulation environment in the middle.
Yeah, so with FME, it really is where is your data and where do you want it to go? And with FME, you can get it there.
Exactly. So I guess to wrap things up.
Yeah, so with FME 2018.1, we have various indoor mapping formats. More are coming all the time. And as we continue to work in this space, talking with customers, we're not only going to be adding new formats, like we're working on a really taking our Revit reading to the next level right now. So that's really exciting because that's raw native Revit reading.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. But also the transformers. As we learn more, as you've seen on the hub, one of the things we work to do is to build these building blocks. So now the building blocks that you're working with are more in tune with the scenario you're actually building. So like the IMDF validator, strictly speaking, FME could do all that validation, but if we just said to use, use FME to validate IMDF, there'd be a lot of wasted effort there.
Exactly.
A, many wouldn't do it because it's a lot of work, and then B, it's a lot of work. So now by doing that, everybody in the FME community has access to that. So if there's other building blocks that you would like, there's a couple of options. A, ask us and we'll see if we can build it. B, if you build something yourself that you think would be valuable to other FME users, just throw it up on the hub. And even if it's samples, we call them templates, but if you build a nice sample and you think that might be useful, like after this webinar, we're going to put up the IMDF to KML template. Might be useful to people out there. If it's not, but it gets close, you can download a template and see what's going on and help you learn some of the tricks from, FME masters like Dave Campanis. Yeah.
That's the other thing I wanted to point out, both with the templates and actually the custom transformers, all of the ones published by SAFE. Now, some of our customers may choose to lock theirs down, but all of the ones published by SAFE can all be edited, which means you can go in there and see how they work. The vast majority of them are nicely documented to explain why we do what we do. We treat these not just as something to help you do your work faster, but we try to make everything a training experience as well. So we try to make everything to take what we know about FME, what we've done using FME, and make that as accessible to you as possible. Because really, the more you use FME, we think the more you love FME.
Yeah. So and the more exactly. Yeah. And the hub is a great way to grow the whole community. The more people more things that are published to the hub, everybody benefits, and the whole value of the FME ecosystem just becomes that much more valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's some resources there.
Yeah. The more on IMDF, that will point to the this tutorial here. It's the short form of it, and this is a really good starting point for IMDF as well. Earlier we published the Apple specifications for IMDF. This is also very good and very well explained, and it actually has some, I don't know if I can find them, illustrations. Yeah. So they also show you. They have really nice pictures, and I found this super helpful of how they want everything captured. Yeah. Right. So this is for IMDF. This is a extremely valuable tool here.
Yeah. Good. And what if I want to try FME? How do I do that?
Go to this safe.com.
Safe.com. Oh, that's all you need to do. No, just safe.com. Just go
safe.com?
Yeah, because we made it even easier.
Oh wow.
Because you don't want to go there. Just safe.com, and now click free trial. Right on the front page, and click intended use. And so at SAFE, we have a home program. You want to try and learn FME at home, and there's a free license. Maybe you're a student, maybe you have one. You're a user, of course, you can download it. Maybe you just want to try FME. You say, hey, I want to try FME for this indoor stuff. Our philosophy is try it. We'll help you, and then once it solves your problems, you can buy it. So that's yeah.
In fact, one of our coworkers, Dimitri, claims that he's playing with playing with FME is more fun than playing video games.
Yeah, there you go. And so if you're a nonprofit or research or training at a university or whatever, so there's a number of options there. And so don't hesitate to give it a try.
Yeah, please do. Oh, and if you run into any problems, we're available at our Knowledge Center, and I should show you that
live
too.
chat might even be up now on the homepage.
Yeah, there's a live chat here, which is offline.
It's going to be on in probably about 10 minutes.
Few minutes.
Yeah.
Feel free to drop there. You don't have to be a customer. You just have to be. You can be a evaluating user. You can be a home user. It doesn't matter. Come talk to us if you run into a snag. We really
if I click live chat when it's offline, what happens?
They send you to the Q&A form.
And then basically you can
But we should also have a look at that too.
Yeah.
And the Q&A forum is where you can ask questions here. This is sometimes if you have a more complex question than that a live chat, and then you can post up, say, examples and stuff. And it's not only SAFERs helping you here, it's their entire community.
That's
and I believe there are some very, very industrious users out there who have helped an incredible number of people.
So type IMDF there, what comes up? Just hit enter. And you can see there's lots of stuff there for IMDF. So
both articles and questions
that other people have asked. And so it's a great way. Join the community. You'll meet other users. And there's nothing greater than talking to another user who's battling with the same thing or interested in the same domain, because you can just learn so much from each other.
Plus, it's really exciting the first time somebody asks a question and you go, oh, I know the answer to that. Plus, we give you points and badges. So
that's right. Cool. That's right. And we do watch it so that we'll make sure that if you've asked a question and it doesn't get answered, we'll help you. So there we go. So I think with that.
Okay, that's the homepage that we just showed you.
How to get a free trial. And
our next upcoming webinar, picnics and processing rasters from satellites, UAVs, and more.
Good. And so that's next week. So that's great. So I think Dimitri's doing that one. I think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And
Okay. So I guess let's see if there's any. Let's see if there's any questions.
4 minutes. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. We're just going to go through a few questions here, but we really appreciate your time. We know everybody's super busy, and hopefully this was valuable. It was a lot of fun. We're really excited about indoor data, and and we'll be at if you are an airport and you're going to be at the ACI show in Nashville.
We'll have a booth there.
And Dave and I will be there along with
Tiana. Is it Tiana?
No, it's Carol.
Carol's
going to be there.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll have a good time.
So any questions you wanted to? Okay, so we have somebody interested in Tririga. We have a few people excited about HANA. It looks like a few people have just got a hold of some airport data. So again, we're happy to help you really with that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. If you contact us at support@safe.com, we do get back to people. So I know that often, in our industry, perhaps that doesn't happen, but it's safe. That does happen. So
What happened to the anchors? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't quite.
Nope. That's good. Go ahead.
Okay. With the Victoria, I started off with all the stuff that was absolutely necessary, but we may enrich that as we go along, as we find more information, as we get more feedback from Apple after we send it through.
So what do they mean by anchors, Dave?
Anchor, as far as I know, is that's right, because we don't have occupant information for Victoria. So anchors is a point feature that attaches to an occupant that's located inside a unit. And I believe you can also use but many of these don't have anchors anymore. So,
Okay.
How does this IMDF format handle multiple floors? That's by having links to levels. That's why you have the levels, and levels are mandatory in the IMDF.
Right.
So each unit has a link to the level that it's on.
Right. Now the IMDF is a collection of GeoJSON files.
Exactly.
Is a floor a single GeoJSON file? So if I had 10 floors, would I see, if I opened up that zip file or went into that directory, would I see a GeoJSON file for each level?
No, GeoJSON is first like each class.
Okay.
So you have GeoJSON for levels, for venues, for units.
So all the floors would be in one.
In a single.
Yeah. That's right. And all the units for all the floors would be in another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're all related to each other by the level ID, unit ID, that sort of thing. Yeah. They all tie together that way. Yeah. So it's a whole relational system.
Right. Okay. That's a good question.
Does IMDF handle mezzanines? Yes, a mezzanine would be essentially its own level, and that's a bit trickier because if you have a unit that doesn't exist in this case.
So you have to have empty space.
Yeah, it's called open to below. So you have to make the unit of the air that's on that level, and then you code that as open to below.
Right.
And that's
so if you have a nice courtyard with some offices on the side, but then you have this nice open atrium in the middle.
Yeah.
On each level, you would have that as open to below.
Exactly. It's very important to code it as open to below because the wayfinding will not send people there.
Right. Yes. Yes. You don't want that to become a shortcut.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I think that's
pretty much it. Well, I think all the other questions will follow up by email.
Yeah. So every question will be answered via email. Many of you, we see the questions have been answered. So thanks for our team doing that. Do you know who's doing that? Is Mark Stokes doing that?
I think Liz is one.
Liz, okay. Yep. So thanks to the team at SAFE for answering all those questions.
Yeah.
And again, look forward to hearing from anybody out there who is working with indoor data and IMDF. So
yeah, exactly. This is fairly new for us. We're really excited about it, and quite frankly, the more information you give us or the more problems you give us, the more you're helping us.
Yeah. So and I just want to thank Dave for all the great work he's done. I also want to thank Liz and Mark Ireland and Dean Hintz, and I know I missed a few people. I apologize for that, but really, like and Juan and Joel and all the developers, like everything at SAFE, it truly is a team effort. Tiana, Stephanie, the list goes on about, and we're all big team here, and we're all excited about indoor. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.